Sup YouTube, Dr. G back on your screen. Last time I covered the Raptor Tachikaze deck. This time, I'm going to be taking a look at their more crit-centric cousins, the Ancient Dragons. In my opinion, Booster Set 11 was a great set. It gave a bunch of clans some new cards to play with. Seal Dragons, Celestials, an early look at Eradicators, and Genesis. And of course, the topic for today, Ancient Dragons. Whoa. Well, this deck is yet another deck I took a look at from the Japanese rankings, and it kinda intrigued me why the player chose some certain cards in this deck. Dino Crowd? Gatling Garo? Why would I use these cards? Why would I intentionally minus myself just for these two cards to get a 5k boost? But then, after playing around with the deck a little bit, I figured out why he used these cards. It's because this deck has a hidden MVP, a most valuable card. My trigger lineup is as follows: 4 heals, 6 criticals, 2 that are the regular Tachikaze kind, and 6 draws, also with 2 that are the regular Tachikaze kind. Because of the play style of this deck, I believe 6 crits and 6 draws are best for this deck. The reason being, this deck likes to eat its own units, and you need to replenish some of the units you lost, and having 6 draws can help you with that. And also, because of the fact that both Tyranno Legend and Spino Driver, they each give one another extra criticals, you don't need as many criticals as you need draws. And also, our starter of choice is Baby Rex. It's the most usual choice, especially for an Ancient Dragon deck. Baby Rex is actually very good for the combos that you can do in this deck, which I will illustrate later. And in looking at our grade 1 lineup, we finally get to see this deck's most valuable card. And that card is Iguanagorg, Run and Force. Iguanagorg is a card I always thought regular Tachikaze should have had. A card that places itself back onto the field when it dies. Not only does this card place itself back onto the field, but it can also place itself on top of a occupied rearguard space, thereby retiring the unit that's already in that space and setting Iguanagorg up ready to attack. So if you can set it up right, you have another column ready to be used. And how do you set Iguanagorg up that way? Well, you use one of your unit eaters here, and one of them is Gatling Garo. With Gatling Garo, you eat your Iguanagorg, and the Iguanagorg can be placed anywhere in the field wherever you need it to go. And this is a great combo right here, which I will illustrate later. Of course, the deck also runs your 7k attacker Triplasma at 4 and Paraswall at 3. Why Paraswall at 3? Really, I only have 3 copies. If I get another copy of Paraswall, I would probably remove an extra Crayola Fall. So until then, I'll only run 3 Paraswalls. And in looking at our grade 2 lineup, I have here 4 of the grade 2 Vanillas, Crayola Fall, 4 of the grade 2 12k attackers, Beam and Kilo, and 4 of the unit eaters Dino Crowd, which is the bigger version of Gatling Garo, our combo starter. And in looking at our grade 3 lineup, we have, of course, Spino Driver at 4 and Tyranno Legend at 3. Why am I running Tyranno Legend at 3? Well, it's because I want a better chance of getting Spino Driver first, so I can ride it first over Tyranno Legend. And really, Spino Driver's skill is worth it. With its ability of drawing 2 more cards after eating 2 cards on the field, you could replace non-ancient dragon cards like Kari Trilobite or Black Cannon Tiger and replacing them with ancient dragon cards in order to use for fodder for Tyranno Legend skill. And its draw ability helps you dig deeper into your deck in order to get the combo pieces in order for the final turn. Tyranno Legend is a great vanguard. It's a great finisher and pressure vanguard. It has the ability to get 10k and an extra critical by eating 3 of your units. With that being said, when you combo Tyranno Legend with Iguanagorg, you can create, you can create a new column if you know how to do it right, and that can maximize the number of attacks possible in this deck and creating more pressure for your opponent. Some cards to consider for this deck are non-ancient dragon cards, so be mindful of that because Tyranno Legend here does have an E special counterblast that needs ancient dragon cards, and its Eat skill does require you to sacrifice ancient dragon card, so just be mindful of that. That being said, one card to consider is Baby Taro. Baby Taro here is great for this deck because it can give you an extra chance of getting to your Spino Driver first over Tyranno Legend. It's a great thing to have. However, I kind of like Baby Rex for this deck just because of the combo possibilities in this deck. But if you're not too worried about combo possibilities, then you can use Baby Taro over Baby Rex. Other cards to consider are criticals. You know, maybe you want more criticals, so you could remove these 2 draws for 2 more criticals. So you would have the usual 8 criticals, 4 draws. We've all seen that before, right? Yeah. However, what if we took all of the draws out altogether and replaced them with more criticals, giving us even more power? However, without the draws, you have to be a little bit more mindful how and when to eat your units. But with this kind of a lineup, you would have a lot of power coming down your opponent's throat. With Spino Driver and Tyranno Legend providing criticals to the Vanguard and dropping criticals everywhere. And if you know how to set up your field right with Iguanagorg as for an extra column, all the damage will start piling up. However, you just gotta keep in mind, just like I said before, that these 6 cards are not ancient dragon cards. So if you're going to use Tyranno Legend's E special counterblast, just be mindful of that. Or if you need an emergency fodder for Tyranno Legend skill, you can't use these. That being said, however, the deck is actually more lenient when using non-ancient dragon cards, because if you really think about it, you don't really use Tyranno Legend's E special counterblast all that much. When it gets a 10k boost and extra critical, you don't really need that extra 5k from its E special counterblast. I mean, really, when I was playing this deck, I spent all of my counterblast more for Iguanagorg skill. So using an all crit variant is actually quite possible. Another card to consider is Dark Rex. Just one Dark Rex, probably over Creolifall, just like that. Dark Rex is actually pretty good for deck, especially with Spino Driver. You know, you could Dark Rex is a great surprise vanguard. Like maybe you fail to kill your opponent using Tyranno Legend's skill, but you know for a fact that they can't block anymore, so you suddenly drop your Dark Rex and finish them off. Or you could do the double Spino Driver combo, where you break ride a Spino Driver over another Spino Driver. And if that first Spino Driver attack fails, you can use the Dark Rex that you binded before and break ride another one over, doing a double break ride. And your Dark Rex will get 10k and an extra critical. So if you know for a fact that they can't block it, then you've already got the game in the bag, you know. But doing that, it actually does cost you a lot, considering the fact that when you break ride over Spino Driver, you have to sacrifice 2 cards for Spino Driver skill, draw 2 extra cards, but then Dark Rex has to eat 3 of your units, literally clearing out your entire field. But with extra criticals, that'll really just finish them off. So this is another card to consider using. Strategy with this deck at first seems pretty simple. Ride your break ride unit, reach limit break status, and then break ride, try to win the game. However, this deck has the ability to change the way the battlefield looks, and it all starts with the Iguanagorg. For example, when you start off with this, attack with Beam and Kilo first, unboosted. And then, when you get to Dino Crowd, attack, use Dino Crowd skill, and eat Iguanagorg. And since Iguanagorg got killed, you can Counterblast and put it over the Beam and Kilo that attacked, replace it, and you have an all new row to attack with. You can actually even do this this formation a little differently with 2 Iguanagorgs. You attack with Beam and Kilo boosted. Then, when you attack with Dino Crowd, use a skill, you eat this Iguanagorg. Then when you Counterblast and bring it back, you put it over this Iguanagorg. And since this Iguanagorg got eaten, it just died, you can Counterblast this one, and you place it over this unit, and you got a whole new unit to attack with. But then, when you put Tyranno Legend into the mix, you can maximize the number of attacks you can make with this deck. For example, attack with Beam and Kilo, attack with Dino Crowd, kill Iguanagorg, Counterblast, put it over in Beam and Kilo over here, attack with that. Then, when Tyranno Legend attacks, use a skill and eat 3 units. And that's where you do this. You eat these 3 units. And then you can Counterblast your Baby Rex's skill, bring out another Tyranno Legend from your deck. Then you do another Counterblast. And you bring the Iguanagorg back, and you have another row that you can put your triggers to attack with. But you could even go up to 6 damage if you want. For 6 damage, you do the whole thing. Put it that. Kill this. Attack with this. 3. Tyranno Legend skill. Eat these. Sorry, you eat these. Counterblast 1 for Baby Rex's skill. Counterblast 2 for Iguanagorg, number 1. Counterblast 3 for this other Iguanagorg. So you have 2 more rows to attack with and to put triggers to, giving you 6 attacks. And with this kind of ability, the deck can really put a strain on your opponent's hand and its units on the field. After playing around with this deck, I can safely say that Ancient Dragons is one of my favorite clans to play around with. this deck has combo potential and power that makes it a really fun deck to play. So, I hope you give this clan a try and have yourself some fun.